Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Today we have, a pretty exciting show set up for you here on Comedy and Controversy with Jeremy Baker. We are going to talk about the Trump indictment and what it means for the country. So we also have a special guest today. We have Esteban from the Esteban Hour. So this is going to be quite the interesting conversation. Hello, Jeremy. How are you today?
What's up? I'm trying to put it out on my Facebook feed real quick that we're going live. So I'm
No
multitasking. What's
problem.
going on? Welcome to the April Fool of the Year Awards. Oh, God. I think we have a runaway winner this year.
Yes, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting it retweeted out here on Twitter. So, and for those people that are going to be watching on Twitter, feel free to make comments. As soon as I get this retweeted out there, I will make sure that I repeat that. There we go. So for those of you that are on Twitter, I will be watching it live on the side here with the volume down. And if you have any comments, feel free to make a comment on Twitter, and I'll try to read those as we go. With that said, hello, Esteban. How you doing today?
How you doing? Hey, guys.
Hello.
I'm glad you're able to make it.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for
We
inviting
needed
me.
a New York City perspective on the whole situation.
Hey, New York is
So he's
here.
West Coast. He's out and enjoying. It's like only 1 o'clock in the afternoon there.
Yes, loving it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm loving it.
I'm up here freezing. He's like, "Oh, it's like 75 degrees here." I'm like, "Oh, I hate you."
78 right now.
It's almost close here. It's about 60 degrees, and we'll take it. We'll take it. It's beautiful
close.
today.
I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm right there with you.
All right. So before we get this show on the road, Esteban, tell us a little bit about yourself and your show and when it's available, and let the people know all about you here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Esteban. My show is called the Esteban Hour. The show comes on every Friday evenings from 8 to 9 o'clock. Sometimes it goes a little bit over. And what we deal with is basic opinionated talk from everyday people such as you and I. So we go through current events, breaking news. We also focus on people's life experiences, stories, things that they've been through that they like to share with audience members, perhaps as a motivation or an example to do better, or to show the world that whatever they're going through, they're not alone. And I like to point out and bring out those kinds of experiences and stories, but from everyday people that we don't hear from every day. Not from politicians or celebrities, rich people, but from the normal everyday folks. How's gas affecting you? Inflation, your families, things like these shootings that's going on. I like to get everyday people's opinions on how it's making them feel within their hearts, minds, and souls, and relative to their financial aspects.
That is awesome. I love it.
That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. You know what I mean? That's exactly what we need right now, is to see how everyday people are living, their struggles, most importantly.
That's right.
We'll never get better if we don't know what is actually really going on. We have to see this stuff.
And given the opportunity for others in higher places or in position of leadership that have the power to make changes, to get to see and hear more of the experiences and struggles that the common everyday folk go through.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what I do on here. I have a few shows with some authors. I have a show called Becoming Stoic. I have Comedy and Controversy here. I have The Flow, which is spirituality energy show. So I try to bring people together from all these different arenas and have conversations on a lot of different topics. And you know, the more we can see people for who they are and the reality of the people in the world versus what's going on politically, I think that is huge. So
Absolutely.
keep doing what
Absolutely.
you're doing. I would love to come on your show sometime. Please, hope you.
Absolutely. I
All
will.
right.
That'd be cool.
Yep. Whoop, we lost Esteban. What happened there?
Uh-oh.
Nope,
There
there
he
he is.
is.
He's
Oh,
back.
there he is.
Sorry.
Okay. Let's
Phone
for a
call
second.
just came in.
No worries. No worries. Okay, real quick here, I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. What were you gonna say?
You know what? Threw me off. I don't remember what I was gonna say now.
I
was like,
I'm gonna play a quick clip here from Jordan Klepper. Okay, so enjoy.
Investors who were definitely around here somewhere.
Yeah, this is the Truth Social here. It says Tuesday, protest, take our nation back. Excuse me, is this the protest for Trump? Or the Trump protest? Or the supporting? Are we taking our nation back? Is that today? I thought it was today.
So I did have the day right, and then I found a proud and totally concealed Trump supporter.
Why are you here?
I'm here to support Trump because they want to indict him.
So Trump went on his own social media and he called out people, his supporters, to come out here and support him. And right now, that's just you.
I'm here.
Heavy as the crown.
I don't need you to come outside. No, I got this.
Okay.
I'm here to actually see what's going on. Everyone was talking about it, so I came here to check it out.
You wanted to see it with your own eyes.
That's right, because I don't believe what I'm hearing on the news media.
So what have you seen so far?
Absolutely almost nothing.
Nothing.
Correct.
This was an
All right. And
so I was giggling. I was giggling the whole time. I had to mute my
just
mic.
so I don't get nailed for copyrights or anything like that. This is something that I got off of YouTube. It's on YouTube. Okay, so anyways, I love Jordan Klepper. I love it when he gets out there. I encourage everyone to watch a lot of these things because I find it hilarious when that they present things that are going on and the people that they're interviewing. And I know some of them are out there to make Trump look stupid and make the followers look stupid, but the reality is I saw this one person that believed that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for January 6th. And I forget who the interviewer was. It may have been Jordan Klepper, but it's like, okay, wait a minute. So you're saying that Nancy Pelosi initiated January 6th to state that Biden shouldn't be president and that Trump should. So why? Please explain.
So there's no logic. There's no logic
It makes
anymore.
no sense.
It doesn't. I was just screaming before you got on here. I'm like, I don't understand anymore, man. It's like no rational thought. Or they just choose to just say, F it. I'm just going to believe whatever. I'm just having a fun time.
I mean, one of the best things that he said in that video when he was asked what's going on here, and the gentleman said nothing, that is the truth. There's absolutely nothing to see. Why are they there? Even though the 2 or 3 people that are there, why are they there? There's nothing to see.
Exactly.
And the gaslighting on there, man. Like, just the messages he's sent since he found out he's been indicted. I mean, the guy's having a complete nuclear meltdown, and it's like he's literally he's not helping himself whatsoever. He's not helping his case whatsoever by continuously attacking Alvin Bragg, talking about his wife. Like, who does that? And this is the guy you're going to stand before here soon. Like, and he just keeps acting like it's not going to happen. Oh, I'm not going to get,
Well,
it's happening.
All right. Here's something else I want to share. Joe Walsh today tweeted, I left the Republican Party 3 years ago. And even though being a politically homeless sucks, every day Republicans reaffirm I made the right decision leaving. I mean, if I were a Republican this past week, I'd have to be out there arguing that dear leader is above the law. No thanks. Now, I commend Joe Walsh for saying that. But yet, I want to point out, because here's my response. There it is, Joe Walsh. As a Republican, why do you have to defend someone who is wrong? Why can't you be a Republican and stand against wrongdoers in the party? Leaving the party is your only option? No, walking away from the problem doesn't fix it. And I bring
Amen
this
to
up.
that.
I bring this up because this is one of the things about the Republican Party. Okay, no matter who says what, everyone gets behind it. Okay, and if it's something that they don't agree with, they ignore it and they just let it go and pretend like it never happened.
We've
But
talked about this.
Right, but this is what also makes the Republican Party quite the adversary, because, as I pointed out, Trump has been indicted. Okay, I put a poll out there. Is Donald Trump going to be smiling, frowning, or just looking gruff when they do his mugshot? All right, and the reason why I'm asking this is because he's going to publicize this. He is going to use this to play the victim and be the popular person. He's a
Right.
populist. So this is going to make him popular. He's still going to be the front runner for the Republican Party.
It's a shame.
Crazy.
I know.
That's,
And here he is. He's got an indictment in New York. He's going to have an indictment in Georgia. And then Jack Smith's going to come out with the federal indictments. So if there was any of these cases that could actually go to trial before the 2024 election, it'll be Jack Smith's case. The rest of them won't happen until after 2024.
Actually, I just found out today in New York. I think it has to start within 6 months, and unless there's delays, but I'm pretty sure they're going to deny delays at this point because they understand. They see through all the BS now. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So
I would hope
that might. I
would
yeah,
hope,
not
because
to verify that, but
because what we're looking at is that Donald Trump is going to play this for popularity. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think this is going to sink Donald Trump. This is going to sink the Republican Party because of their division. I disagree. I believe that if Trump takes this headline and he runs with it, and Fox comes back and starts kissing his ass, and the politicians come out and start bowing the knee again and kissing the hand, he will be the first. I mean, he's the first president to be impeached twice. He's the first president to be indicted, and he will be the first president to win an election from behind bars.
that's where me and Paul disagree. I hope that never happens.
I hope that never happens as well.
But the crazy part is you can do that. You can win president from jail. What? That's insane. And me and Esteban talked about this when we talked last about there's got to be Republicans. But every day that goes by, I think we said this yesterday, like, when are they going to grow some metaphorical or physical balls?
Yes.
And say enough is enough. Like, and I just talked about this with Paul. They're like gamblers that I think I said this on your show too. They're like gamblers. They keep putting all their money on this bet. And you know what? The midterm is I think where the origin story or the origin of the story is, because they, I think, had all their bets on the red wave so they could do what they want, override the president, make whatever bills they want, put Trump back in president, and then have their way with this country until there's nothing left. And I'm pretty sure they had no backup plan, because by their reactions, that's what it looks like to me.
I think Republicans have gone way further than they thought that they would. I don't even blame them anymore, because they've been doing the same thing for several years now. Who I blame are their constituents. Is the American people. That is who I blame now, because we've seen these revelations happen over and over again, right? So if you're still voting in the same person, for example, Marjorie Taylor Greene, then you like what they do and what they say. And what that means is everyone else who doesn't like it needs to really unite more than ever to get these kind of leaders out of office. so this
Mhm.
can stop. The Republicans have no backbone whatsoever. I get disgusted and infuriated when I hear them talk about law and order. If any one of us three here was to do anything illegal, do you think we would be able to run a campaign from a jail cell? Do you think we would be able to do our work from a jail cell? No.
Probably not. Probably not. But I'm going to push back just a little bit. And this isn't me defending Republicans. This is me just pointing out a fact. Do you watch Fox News?
I do here and there. Yes.
Here and there. If you were to sit there and watch it all day long, every day, just like someone that watches CNN all day or MSNBC all day, and the propaganda that's coming out, you believe what they're telling you because that's all you hear.
Right.
So when you have Fox News telling its people that Dominion cheated and changed the vote, the people believe that. It's the news. They believe that
Right?
Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and all those other ones are telling the truth. They believe it.
Mm.
Okay.
That's insane too. I mean,
All right. Now,
imagine believing that with all your heart, because some people have literally mortgaged their house to donate to Donald Trump.
yes. Now,
Imagine believing in something that deeply that you're willing to do that.
Right.
And put your entire, and then finding out it's complete and other crap.
Right.
My mind would be blown.
And here it is. Here it is. The shame of backing the wrong horse. Okay. Nobody likes to be shamed. Nobody likes to admit that they're wrong. Okay. That's just our human nature. We don't like to admit when we F up. All right. We got to find somebody else to blame. That's just our nature. All right. Very few people out there in the world will stand up and say, I was wrong. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't see that. Very few. All right. And those of us that do, like myself, have become an independent because we are not trapped by a partisan side.
Right.
Okay. I'm not held to any of the values or any of the propaganda by either side.
Right.
So when you are backing a horse, and even when you sit there and you go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still going out there and supporting this. Oh my God. And yet you still do because you don't want to be wrong. So this is what we have to, this is our hurdle. Okay. If we're out there talking about if we're out there thinking that we're going to pull people from the right, or if you're on the right and you think you can pull people from the left, you're mistaken because they're stuck. The people that are like myself, that's an independent, that's who you have to convince. Okay. Now, with that said, I don't have that same hurdle that the people on the left and the right do. Okay. If you want to pull somebody from the left and the right, you have to bring them back to a platform of self admission that, oh my God, I did wrong. And the ability to admit that, oh my God. Now, we can keep giving them an out. Trump being indicted is the biggest out that Republicans have right now.
Yeah, and then they just double down on it.
And they just double down on it.
Oh my God, I backed a criminal. And now they can get out.
Kevin McCarthy trying to stop a state legislator from doing their job.
Knowing
directly
that
violating,
he has no jurisdiction for that.
None. And his excuse was we want to propose a bill to make ex-presidents immune to all forms of prosecution.
Okay.
Even if they could propose it all they want, it's not going to get past the Senate. And I mean, how would that even go?
Right. And again, where is the law and order? Where's the law and order?
Alvin Bragg is restoring my faith in law and order because he sent out the perfect letter to McCarthy today and pretty much tell him to F off in the most polite and precise way I've ever seen. It was perfection.
I want you to think about this. Kevin McCarthy, he knows it's not within his jurisdiction, correct?
Yeah, at this point, I'm not. I don't know.
No,
I don't know at this point.
I do. I do. And
No,
here's why.
He knows. He knows.
Hey,
Exactly. He
God.
is throwing out the propaganda. Remember, who's the expert on the red herrings?
Yeah, right.
Me. Okay. He knows that he has no jurisdiction. But if he says he's going to do this, then the MAGA people are going to continue to support him because Kevin McCarthy tried and those evil liberals stopped him because there's a deep state. It reaffirms the convictions of what August. You see how this works? It's propaganda.
They're good at it, man. This is next level. Like, this is beyond World War II propaganda type stuff. I mean, they're abusing Twitter. They're abusing all social media. You know what I mean? All right, seriously, who watches still Fox News? If you found out a news station has been lying to you, told you the biggest lie in history, but if you still watch Fox News and go, well, they must be telling the truth now because they got caught. No, they literally told you they lied to your face just to get ratings. They didn't want to upset the ratings. That's all it was about.
That's what
it's a giant grift. It's a giant grift. This is all it is.
It's just like where Dominion was given the okay to go forward in the lawsuit by the judge. Okay. So we're looking at what, 1.6 billion or whatever it is. So now Fox News has to make a decision. Do we put Carlson, Hannity, Ingram, do we put them on the stand, or do we take a quarter of our worth and settle out of court and drop it?
That's actually funny.
What do you do as Fox News? Do you risk putting these people that are so good at propagating the bullshit on the stand, or do you go hush hush, go away?
That's what I don't understand. And I actually have seen I watched some of the legal shows on the independent legal ones on YouTube that follow the Donald Trump situation. And even they're confused at this point because they don't think that there's any way Fox News could win this case. They said there's next to no way that Fox News could win. They can't believe that they haven't settled out of court. But like you taught me, Paul, never say never. But
that in itself is propaganda, because one of the hardest cases to prove is a defamation case, and that's what this is. Okay, so Dominion's going into this balls to the wall. All right, with this much of a chance of winning.
But they have mega evidence to back up their claims that give them this chance of winning, but this much evidence that the court system cannot ignore.
And that's just the stuff we've seen so far. We haven't seen any of the unsealed stuff.
It can't ignore it, but you have to remember in a defamation suit, you have to prove malice. Okay, you can have all the evidence in the world. You have to prove that malicious intent. If the intent was malicious and they can prove it, then Dominion will win. So they have to prove that intent. All the rest of the evidence, all the emails, all of that, it truly means nothing. It truly means nothing.
I think they have it. I think.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on, because hello, Lana.
Hey, there she is.
How are you? I look a mess and the forehead's going on.
Oh, you look great.
The
it was the last message I sent you that brought you on, right? You couldn't resist after that.
Oh, no, I don't know. I was just having all kinds of issues and I'm in the middle of doing my hair. So, how are you guys? Hi, everyone.
Esteban, Lana, Esteban.
Hi,
nice to meet you, Lana.
Nice to meet you. Too.
Great. Lana also has a show.
Look at that. Some cornrows up there. Those cornrows. What is that?
Hey, I'm trying to I don't know what I'm trying to do. This is my 45 and I no longer care what people think of me mode.
It looks good.
Lana,
I like it.
Man, a show called The Quest Show. So make sure you check out Lana Quest on The Quest Show. Lana, Esteban has the Esteban Hour. All of his information is at the bottom. So make sure you guys check each other out and collaborate.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing a show with the both of you on it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely, Lonnie.
Good.
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. All right, you ready? Can I bring up a topic that we have to discuss because this has really been bothering me? Or you got something, Paul?
No, go ahead. Unless Esteban wanted to answer the last question that I just put out.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I mean, from what I can tell, I mean, with Trump organization being 17 counts of fraud and being investigated again for fraud for $250 million, Trump can't get funding, conventional funding, anywhere in the United States anymore, really, as far as I can tell. And so that basically means he's either getting it from foreign countries that he shouldn't be getting it from, or he's just living off of these donations. And that the Midas Touch Network actually did a little short episode on it, as he has gotten over $250 million since he left office and just donations. But then there's homeless people and people that can't afford utilities all across the country right now. Why would people donate to a problem but they won't donate to this, like a solution to a problem? That's what's really confusing me right now, is the amount of money this guy's been able to just suck out of his people.
He's definitely been able to suck millions of dollars out of these poor folks that are just given blindly. But one thing that I want everyone to remember is some of his qualities happens to be cheating, lying, scamming. So when you say that he may not get bank loans anymore, I don't know if that's really going to be true, because he's proven that he will do his utmost, good or bad, to get what he wants, or to use someone else to help him get what he wants.
Yep.
I just wish people would see it for what he was, or what he is.
Right.
I mean,
Go ahead, Lana.
I was just gonna say, of course he's getting bank loans. Who do you think he's getting money? He has no cash. He's no equity. He's getting bank loans from overseas. He's getting bank loans from Russia. Why do we think he had those documents? Just to chill out with him? It's like, hey, I got documents.
Right.
Come on. So we already know. He wasn't
no bank loans in America.
Trump doesn't do anything without a purpose. He did not take those documents because he wanted souvenirs. He took those documents because what happened right after we found out? He was having like golfing with the Saudis. Like, he's just like, hey, look what I got. Like, he's just out here. And then to answer your other question real quick, why do people continue to support a racist bigot? Why would that be? Because they're racist bigots themselves.
Right.
I mean, this is throughout history. We talk about this all the time. It's like there are people in this country that will cut off their nose to spite their faces, because it's like, let's stick it to the queers, let's stick it to the blacks, because it makes me feel better about my failures. So that's just how it is.
Yes.
And they're just straight dumb. Like, they just don't understand.
Part of your question, Jeremy, to answer the other part of your question, how does he get $250 million and nothing goes to homelessness? Okay. There's no profit in fixing the homelessness problem. So why would you put your money into something that's not going to make you something back? Where if I invest it in Trump, I might get a tax cut. I might be able to, get somebody to, do a non-disclosure agreement with them. I might be able to get something to go on in some avenue or another to where it's going to benefit me. This is why we don't take care of the homeless problem. And it's not just Donald Trump. It's not just Republicans. It's all of these corporate politicians. They fix the problem. I've got the solution. They won't listen.
That's a rule that's happening on both sides, whether you are a Democrat or a Republican. That's a corporate rule that they follow. If there's no money there, go in the opposite direction.
See, I always beg to differ, because you always have it's clear, and I always want to be careful when we say it's both sides, because people get off on that and then they're like, well, what's the point of voting, right? Because there is an absolute point of voting, because both sides are not equal. Of course, everybody, it's capitalist society. So we do things, all of us, because we want to benefit. There's a benefit in it for us, and politicians aren't excluded from that. But I want to make sure that people understand that they are not the same. There is one party that is here that is trying to help people, that are trying to put safety nets out there for people, that is trying to get gun reform, right? And that's another. Why would Republicans fix gun reform? It's not about the NRA, it's about the gun manufacturers, because when people feel unsafe, they buy more guns. But you do have a party that's fighting for gun reform, right? So like they're kind of not there. Everyone likes profit, but they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're not.
And I agree with, that. Oh, okay. I agree with, there's always going to be, I think, a certain aspect of politics. I kind of hope that this brings out, like, this is what we talk about. We talk about being woke and awareness again. I think more people now, though, are aware of these absolute corruptions that are in our government. These are things that nobody's ever seen before. You know what I mean? Social media has expanded, and politicians, but now these people have identified themselves. They're out in the open. Now we know who they are.
Oh, they don't care.
They can't go back and hide anymore. This is, once you say it on the internet, or you put it in print, like Ted Cruz publishing a book called Unwoke, you idiot. Worst title ever. You know what I mean? Once it's out there, it's out there. You can't take this stuff back.
Right.
But now we know we need to get past. I mean, I think we will get past all this, because I think there's a lot more. I think for every one of these ignorant bigots, there's got to be 4 to 5 of us that are embracing democracy and the Constitution and freedom.
There are.
And defending, you know what I mean? So we are the majority. But like Esteban said earlier, until the majority unites, because the problem with the country right now is all these hateful bigots are more united under Trump than the rest of are around anybody else. So
and that's because they're given a pass.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm going to push back a little bit on Lana here, and it's because for the most part I agree with you, but in relation to different things, let's take like COVID. You had the Democrats who were invested in one thing and the Republicans who were invested in another thing in big pharma. So they're pushing two sides of the same coin. All right. Medicare for all. Nancy Pelosi would not bring that to the floor. Why? Because she has investments. Okay. And once it's on record of who's for it and who it's against, now that can be used. So the only pushback I have is I agree with the aspect of, yes, there is a side that is fighting for certain things over what the other side is fighting for. But there's people on both sides that are making sure that their corporate interests are answered first.
There's always going to be backdoor deals and behind door deals, but I just want to always be careful, because there are so many people that aren't registered to vote, so many people that aren't voting, and there are bigger issues. Yeah, there's big pharma, but guess what? Let Trump get back in office. Let a Republican get back in office. You're going to still have Black and brown people jailed for marijuana. You're going to have them sitting on death row because they're bringing that shit back. I mean, they're bringing back the firing squad is in what, North Carolina or South Carolina, right? So the corporate part, but what's going to really impact us, especially Black and brown folks, is like us being put in jail, our Black men continuing to be stopped by police and racially profiled and murdered, same with Black women and Black children. Those are the things that, drive me. I don't fucking care about who the fuck cares of the big farmer and who's getting I really don't care about that. I don't want to see my people on death row. That makes it like
no.
Right.
And I agree. And I think I just want to add real quick. I honestly think what's going to save this country right now is the strong Democratic leaders that we do have, the people of color that we do have in office now, like AOC. Hakeem Jeffries is my man. I love that guy. I would vote for, if he ever runs for president, I would vote for him. I mean, he is incredible.
Handsome.
And we have people like that in office now. And over the next 2 years, the Republicans have the stage. They either can step up and try and do the right thing and change their ways, or they can fall flat on their face. And the next 2 years are going to prove well less than that now, but
we know that they won't.
Right.
Well, and here's where they're falling flat on their face even more. Idaho. There's a city, big city in Idaho. I forget the name of it. I don't have it up in front of me. They've lost. They're not doing any more deliveries of children because they've lost all their doctors.
Right.
Because
right.
They're held to a federal code of having to protect life. And if the mother's life is in danger, they can't save the mother and abort the child. So now they're liable both ways. They're either liable in the law that's passed by the state that they can be arrested for performing an abortion, and if they don't save the mother's life, now they can be arrested there. So why practice medicine in that state? Then on May 19th,
that's all that's going to happen. Yeah.
Their gynecology department is closing down for women's health because, again, they can't refer the proper health for the women because of what the laws are. So prenatal care, all of this stuff is falling by the wayside in Idaho. And then I saw the same thing is starting to happen in Kentucky and in Tennessee. So a lot of these states that are doing these pro-life abortion bans, they're losing doctors. And now if you start losing doctors and they can't perform deliveries because there are no doctors in the hospital to do so, people are now going to move out of state, so, and there's people that if they're pregnant, they can't go across the state lines because they can get arrested. So again, the Republicans are doing themselves in on a lot of avenues here. Before anybody responds, I have Bryce. What did Bryce say here? Democratic supermajority California has twice in the last 5 years had a chance to bring single-payer health care to the state and refused to floor the vote. Big money wins again. Yes, absolutely. So, Jeremy, Esteban, Lana, go ahead.
No, I'm good. Go ahead. I'll pass.
Lana, go ahead.
I don't even know what the question is.
That's everybody up. See, this is Bryce's fault. Every week, Bryce comes on late, asks a question or says something. I'll read it, and then I forget what I was talking about.
What's the question? What are we?
Single payer health care would be a huge boost for minorities and the poor. Absolutely.
It would.
Yeah, I don't know enough to talk about.
That's what I wanted to say.
We go back to Idaho.
Which state was it where they're actually talking about death penalties for women who have abortions and people support this?
South Carolina, I think
it was North Carolina. So let me try and explain to anybody that's watching. And I posted this on my social media earlier. Why does pro-life only apply to the kid or the person before they're born? Because apparently life after birth doesn't mean a damn thing to these people. They don't give a shit about guns. They don't care about the shootings in the schools. They don't want to do anything about it. The one guy actually says, we're not going to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. That's literally what he says. But the hypocrisy lately has just been unreal.
Well,
maddening almost.
Take a look at how long it took law enforcement in Uvalde to get to this minority school versus the 12 minutes it took them to get to a white Christian school in Tennessee. I mean, if that doesn't say something right there. When you start looking at a lot of the propaganda that's out there again on how people are acting and reacting to different things. Again, it comes down to the money. Remember in 2021, tribunal2021.com, tribunal2021.com. The United States was found guilty on 5 counts of genocide against Black, Brown, and Indigenous people. Why isn't that in the media everywhere? Why wasn't it in the media when it came out? Because they don't want people to know what's really going on.
Right.
Okay.
That's why my solution is.
And this
I'm
is
sorry.
why the Republicans that are in power right now are pushing their white superiority extremism as far as they can push it, because they can. And as long as people continue to vote for them, it will continue to get worse. So what is the solution? Vote.
I have another solution, and this is going to upset a lot of people. I think critical race theory and Derek Bell should be taught from grade school all the way through up to graduation. I think critical race theory is imperative for people to learn. I mean, how can we? Me and Esteban talked about this. How can we prevent our past mistakes if we either choose to ignore them or say, no, you can't learn about that?
Right.
We're just going to keep doing this cycle of hate, violence, division over and over again. I think we've had enough of that. Let's try something different.
And it's only been one specific point of history that they say we can't talk about, right? French and Rome, many other past history topics it's okay to talk about. But under the title of African American history, no, we can't talk about that because that might stir some type of racial tension. It's crap. It's absolute crap.
Well, then you have like Florida, which are getting rid of their AP courses, and not just African American, but Latina, Hispanic, just a whole bunch of other aspects. The LGBTQIA, all these different avenues. They're blocking. They're banning books. They're doing stuff like that. So,
I gotta say something.
Go ahead.
What angers me, and I can't remember if it was you, Lana, or if it was Sarah, that I should abuse my white privilege. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't think anybody in this country has the right to diminish what Black people have been through in America just to get to where they're at. You know what I mean? From going from having their identities, their beliefs, their heritage, everything ripped away from them, to being free, and then 144 years later, there's a Black person in the White House. You can't diminish the fact that is power, that is resilience, and I think that's what really scares the white elitists. They see it happening before their eyes, and they have no control over it, and it's scaring the hell out of them. But nobody should be able to diminish what who in America has been through more than Black people in American history? I mean, who?
No,
I mean, there's some there's some second place, far away second places, but who really?
No,
Black people are the ones that built this country.
Yes,
there would be no America if it wasn't for Black people.
Right.
Exactly.
My opinion.
Right.
You can't diminish. You can't disregard that fact. You can't.
Yeah, no. You know, the best thing about it when I wrote my book is that that's a part of history that I didn't even realize existed to the degree that it does. You know, when I saw how many laws and Supreme Court decisions were directly aimed at oppressing people of color, Black people, I was blown away. And the race that has been most horrifically affected by the oppression of white America has been the African American. By far. I mean, there's no question in my mind. I mean, I have a whole subchapter on it in my book where I list going all the way back to the Jesus Christ. Where do I go from? I think I go all the way back to like the 18 freaking hundreds and all that. I have like 10, 15 pages of this in here of yeah, here we go. I got it. I go all the way back to 1640. Okay. I go all the way back to 1640. Okay. And I have 20 pages going over some of the most prominent court decisions against Black people that it blew my mind. It's just like, holy shit. And when people say, well, you know, the Italians came here, the Irish came here, the Spaniards came here. Yes, find me the Supreme Court decisions and the laws and the legislature directed at them that even comes close to what was done to black people.
And I talk to a lot of people about this topic, a lot of people, and a lot of white folks will say, why are African Americans so angry over something that happened, a century ago? So they're not slaves today. They're doing better than. So why are they so angry? It's infuriating to hear that, because it's first of all, look what we're going through today. We can't even a book, right? So why are we so angry? There's still little bits and pieces, or more than a bits and pieces, that are going on today, stemming from what has happened a century ago. It's still here. It's still around. The aura is still around. The way that politics or the government treats white folks versus black folks is still here. It may not be as much as it was, years ago, but it's still here today. And African Americans have damn sure have a lot to be angry about, especially as we're going through this MAGA period, and watching what they're doing and how they're treating everyone else who's not like them, not just black people, but everyone else who doesn't identify with what MAGA supporters identify. We're watching that. We're watching how everyone else is being treated, and it's bad.
Yeah, I did not. After Obama, man, I thought after Obama, we were on the right track. Like, I really felt he had us on the right track, and I felt like things were going to be better. I did not see this coming. I mean, to go from that to this now.
No, that was absolutely going to come, because a black man was the president of the United States. So on one hand, there's a lot
possibly the GOAT. Okay, we could say that.
Right. So there's progression, but wherever there's progression, there's going to be pushback, and that's part of what they're doing. DeSantis is. Well, first, let me go back. CRT is not going to be taught in like K1, because that's different from Black history. It's a college course and a theory. So
I know.
But we just need them to know that, like, that's just as fucking simple as that. That Rosa Parks was told to move because of the color of her skin, and not how Ron DeSantis is taking the skin part out of the first grade book, saying she was just asked to move because she was tired. And then what happened? She fucking ate a sandwich. Like, he took all of that out of the story, and this is for first graders. But so what he wants to do, because let me tell you what happens when black kids, because no one talks about the black kids. We talk about the little white kids because they're going to be sad and oh my God. We don't talk about the black kids, right? So what happens to the black kids when they hear about the struggles that we've overcome? How there was an underground railroad, and how, Harriet Tubman helped free thousands and thousands of like enslaved people. How, we had attorneys and we had first doctors. There was all these firsts for us. The first dentist. I just learned, because I do a Black History fact every single day, or maybe two, that the woman who designed Jackie O's wedding dress was Black. She was a Black designer. Who knew? Ron DeSantis isn't going to let anyone know. But my point is, it gives us inspiration. It gives us desire. It gives us hope. It gives us that thing they had, like, we shall overcome. Because in the 60s, they knew what they had. They had the Malcolms. They had the Martins. They had the Eldridge Cleavers. They had all of these people, the Black Panthers. They had them all. So they felt that sense of pride that they don't want our kids to have. Because if our kids have, they're going to be out in the street. they're going to be protesting. They don't want what they're seeing right now in Tennessee, where all those people flooded that Capitol building after that shooting. They don't want that shit. And they definitely don't want young black and brown people doing it. They don't want it. And that they're trying to stop it. They're trying to stop us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I hope anyway. This is a lot. This is all the hate left in America balled up into one last ditch effort. And if we, like we talked about earlier, if we all were able to unite somehow under a common cause, that maybe we could build something better out of all this nastiness and all this chaos and all this hate. You know what I mean? I think we can. I think as Americans, we could get past this because I think freedom's going to overcome oppression no matter what.
Not maybe, we can. If we get
absolutely.
But the problem is there are folks in high places that do not want to get past this.
Right.
They want us to be in the middle of this struggle.
And they want to divide us, right? And that's why they murdered, God, I can't think of his name. Can't remember his name. But he was getting the poor blacks and the poor whites together in the 60s, like getting us together. And they murdered him. They assassinated him.
Yep.
Are you talking about the leader of the Black Panthers?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
all right.
He wasn't a Black Panther.
Oh, okay. I thought there's a similar story about Chairman Fred. You know what I'm talking about?
What's his name?
Chairman Fred. It was.
You mean Fred Hampton? That's what.
Fred Hampton.
Oh, yeah. They did assassinate him.
Yeah, he was a young black, and he was all about bringing different communities together. It wasn't all about, it wasn't this like they made him out to be this militant group, which they weren't. They were just trying to fight for stuff that other people already had. Like that's all they wanted.
They were trying to protect themselves. Like that.
Yeah, that too. He was assassinated in his sleep by the cops. He was drugged by one of his own people.
Yeah.
And then cops came in, bursted the door without any real reason or purpose, and assassinated him in his sleep. For what? Bringing people together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's been American history over and over again. You know what I mean? Anytime you rise up.
It's hilarious that they say like the FBI is like, FBI is trying to get this white privileged man. Like, what? Excuse me? Like, that has not been the history. The FBI are full of white privileged men. Like, what are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if we didn't have the kind of laws in the books that we have right now, there'd be a lot of those nightly assassinations today too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, phone tapping and everything else.
Yes. Now I don't know who it was that said that, when it's like, well, white people say that slavery was over 200 years ago, so why are we so,
definitely wasn't 200, wasn't it? Maybe it was 200.
No. Well, from the time slavery ended until Obama took office was 144 years. I know that number.
Right, but the point is when they say this, like,
I don't know.
Why are you still so angry about it?
Because
do you know what Jim Crow laws are? Because if you don't, you need to look it up. Because guess what? Mississippi's trying to reinstate them. Mississippi.
Are you serious? I didn't know that. That's insane.
Mississippi is trying to reinstate the Jim Crow laws.
That's because Jackson did it. What are we talking about? Mississippi. Jackson. Yeah, Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? How they're taking over the Jackson?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy in 2023 America. But I mean,
but slavery's not over. You guys keep saying slavery was over after 144 years, and that is just
no. You know what I mean? I'm talking from a historical perspective.
Oh,
no, I get I'm not trying to diminish. I'm not trying to diminish that. I'm just saying from the time.
They took it from the chains of one to the chains of the next, and the secondary set of chains are prison bars.
Exactly.
And trust me, slavery has not ended. It is still going on today. And then, of course, what about all the poor white people that are in jail? Well, guess what? If you look at the laws and how people are treated, if it were truly just, if it were truly just, the percentages would be a hell of a lot different.
Yes.
You know, and the crimes would be a lot different. I talk about the United States Sentencing Commission in my book, and I talk about how when you go through the different there's a point system for each crime, okay, and categories and how it breaks down, and that many points determines what your sentencing is going to be. And when you start looking at the different crimes and what the points are for the sentencing and all that, you realize it's just like, oh shit, white man crime, black man crime, white man crime, black man crime. And it's obvious. And trust me, it's so obvious. The United States Sentencing Commission has published papers on it. So
But that's why
Congress knows this, and yet here we are today. Why isn't it getting changed? It comes back to the money. It comes back to the money. It comes back to the politics. I got up here. Let's see. Revolutionary thinking. I think one of the biggest failings in the Democratic Party in 2016 was not talking about the economic woes of the poors and whites and poor blacks. So Trump came in and ruined everything. That plays a big part of it. Where is the panel on UBI, by the way? This is more about the Trump indictment and related things to that. UBI, that will be another topic for another day. And I wonder why privileged coal miners in places like West Virginia would support Trump anyway. Why?
Well, actually, that kind of leads me. I always go into, if everybody could one day overcome all of our differences and embrace our differences, the greatest depression in America right now is financial.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects everybody, regardless of race, gender, sex. And don't get me wrong, the numbers are obviously skewed. I mean, let's, and that's, I think, why they're so afraid of critical race theory. I mean, it pretty much proves that racism and racial bias, is designed into every system in this country.
Yes.
That's just how it is. It is true.
They made it. Racism is a
right. I mean, who designed the system? Elitist white people.
Right.
Who designed the system? Not poor white people, not black people, elitist whites. And they want to control as much as possible. And that's what's happening right now. I mean, like, I always throw this number out there. 50% of Americans right now make less than $30,000 a year.
Yes.
It's a lot of people, man. That's like 170 to 175 million people living off of $30K a year.
Hold on. I want to hear Lana's response. She was trying to respond.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No. I was waiting for Esteban. He looked like he had this.
No. I'm listening.
Sometimes I get going. I'm sorry.
No. I get going, and I have to remember it's not my show, so I just consciously shut up.
Well, we're all talkers and all that. Too bad Sarah didn't come in on this one.
Yeah.
It would be a 2.5 hour show. Okay.
Yeah. It going through my head is like, shut the hell up. And I wish I had a pen so I could just write stuff down, because, like, it's whatever.
That's why sometimes you see me kind of like raise my hand a little bit. I'm just like, hey, no, I'm sorry. I mean, like, yeah. I'm right. Good.
Now, I want to get back to the Trump indictment, because this is the big thing and all that, because I hear a lot of controversy out there on what this is going to mean for the country. And there's a lot of different things that we need to look at. First and foremost, no one should be above the law. So this indictment is definitely needed. Okay. So I want to point out that I don't disagree with him being indicted. He should be indicted on every goddamn thing that he's done wrong. Excuse me. Now, the question comes in. A lot of people think that if he actually does jail time, that this is going to cause an uprising in this country. Yes and no. I think there's a lot of things that we have to look at in relation to it. When Trump said he was going to be arrested on Tuesday, there were 5 people out front of Trump Plaza, and I think there was only like 3 people that showed up to Mar-a-Lago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All the people that did January 6th, Trump didn't do a damn thing for them. Okay. So who's going to do what for him now? I don't think people are looking at that because the people aren't showing up for him. They're not showing up. And yet, for some reason, he's leading in the polls. Even with Fox News now turning on him for however long that may last. But we have all of these things that are going on. I want to know everyone's thoughts on this Trump indictment and what you think this will do for the country based upon what results that you think should happen, probably will happen, or could happen. Let's start with ladies first. Lana, let me hear what
I knew he was going to do that. I figured like, not me. No. So, yay, Trump was indicted. Is Trump going to jail for this? Of course not. He's not going to jail for this. But who cares, right? Like, it's not, you don't indict someone. He has to be held accountable. And I think the indictment is the holding him accountable. And if a jury finds that he's not guilty, at least he's gone through the process. That's the least that can happen to a man who has committed so many crimes. So that is a good thing. And it's not going to happen right away. I think people need to slow down because that is not how the law happens. I work at a law firm. It's not even criminal. It is civil. You can get injured in 2019. Your case doesn't go to trial until 22. Like it takes a long time, and this is just a lot. So this is going to be a long process. And you know what? It is a good thing that it is a long process because you know why? We want Trump to be indicted and run for president. That is better for the Democrats because then we know Biden is old. We know some people don't want Biden to run, and it's not because he's doing a bad job. It's because he's just really old. But we know that he's going to beat Trump. We need Trump right there, toting indictments on his back while he runs. That's what we want. We do not want a DeSantis because DeSantis is not going to be toting, but he is worse than Trump. And independents may come back. Those Republicans that were like, Trump's just too boisterous, too loud, they're going to vote for DeSantis. That is dangerous for us because Biden and DeSantis is going to be a problem. That would have to be rethought. That is why Biden probably hasn't announced yet. Like all of the stuff is up in the air. So kudos to Trump for still leading in the polls. He is leading in the polls. I'm wrapping it up because he's got a small percentage of people. We keep acting like he's got 60% of the country and he's got 37. So him and DeSantis are fucking fighting over 37 of the races. 37% of racist bigots is who they're fighting for. And Trump is the more loud and the more boisterous person. And DeSantis has a soft jaw. So bring it on.
I love it.
Esteban.
Well, first I'd like to say, it's comical to me to hear many say, well, this indictment is going to tear the country up, or if Trump ends up in jail or convicted, it's going to start, World War III, whatever. I happen to believe we are already in a civil war. Okay, silently. No one wants to admit it, but that's what I believe. And the reason why I believe that is because if Trump and the Republicans can, every day come out of their faces with something else that is divisive, that is what's causing disunity. That is what's causing or getting us closer to an actual civil war. Look what Trump just posted on when he said he was going to be arrested. Go out there and protest. That is what's causing division. So why is it okay for us or for the Republicans or for the American people to allow him to continuously make comments like that. And then when we are acting on it, and in this case, we've been hoping and praying for an indictment so that we can see some kind of consequence is on its way. Now everyone else is wrong for thinking that, but he's not wrong for calling disruption and protest, which we know exactly what he means. He does not mean a peaceful protest. He means exactly what he got or what we got on January 6th. That's what he means, and that's what's causing the disunity and the disruption amongst everybody. Get him to stop that. Get the Republicans to grow some balls and be really in charge of law and order, and that will help us back away from disunity and civil war. Now, with that said, I also want to bring out, because I'm not sure if I had mentioned it on my show with Jeremy and I want to make it clear that yes, many Americans wanted to see this happen, an indictment, but I don't believe any of us are pleasured by the fact that our ex-president, one of our ex-presidents, has been brought up on charges for the first time in history. I don't think any of us glorify in that. Okay, it makes America look bad. It makes us look horrible. I think what everyone is toasting to and having drinks to is the fact that it has been proven that no man is above the law, president or not. It just happens to be an ex-president of the United States. So I just want to make that clear. We're not happy that Trump is being indicted. We're happy that he's paying for the things that he's done. And we're hoping that he will continue to pay for the things that he's done. Because I believe he keeps doing this because there's been no retribution or consequence for his actions. And until he suffers a consequence, he's never going to stop.
Right. Okay.
Facts.
Yes. Jeremy.
Oh, can I say one real quick?
And a lot of
can I just ask a question?
Go ahead.
Did y'all see the Proud Boys when they went to New York? Did y'all see that video? The Proud Boys?
One?
Because
one guy?
Right. So because when we talk about Civil War, the Proud Boys called themselves busting up a drag show in New York, drag reading hour in New York, and got beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
Was like, I came here to help not to get the shit beat up. Okay, y'all. So if they want a Civil War, I don't think so. Because New York alone will fuck them up.
Thank you for bringing that point up, because when that happened, I was tweeting all day crazy because everybody was afraid that what has been happening in a lot of these other red states was gonna come to New York, and I was like, we ain't having it. New York ain't having that shit. Right. Hell no. And as soon as they started, you had protesters that actually said that. No, get out of here with that, and chased them away. They didn't even have a leg to stand on. Okay, you had regular people who were playing police officers and protecting the drag queens.
Good.
And that's what we do.
They don't play. Exactly.
That's right.
Don't
that's
play
what
that
we
shit.
do in New York.
Exactly.
And
are you from New York too, Lana?
No, I'm from my man's from New York. I'm from Boston, and you don't play that. We may fucking fight each other, but stop fucking playing right now. Come on, the ball. They came to Massachusetts, but they knew where to go. They didn't go in the hood. They didn't go into Roxbury. They didn't go to Mattapan. They didn't go to Dorchester. They went to fucking Copley, where the tourists go.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about the whole Civil War thing pretty in depth, and I mean, really, yes, they have probably some.
Civil War in Baltimore.
No, I mean, let's think about it. Really, I mean, yes, they have a lot of guns. Yeah, we know you have a lot of guns because you're all proud of it. But really, you're scattered all over the country, or they're scattered all over the country. There's no leadership. There's no funding. There's no logistics. There's no support from other countries. They wouldn't even get support from Mexico or Canada. I mean, seriously, they would be completely isolated. We have satellites, drones, stealth jets, missiles that can shoot for miles, artillery, special forces. I mean, I could go on and on and on why the Civil War is a ridiculous and dumb idea. But people are, I call them internet muscles. They'll talk a lot of shit on the internet to get everybody gassed up and scare other people, man. This frightens other people, but people don't think like that. They're like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this. It's not going to happen. Come on.
Back to the question, Jeremy. Your turn. Back to the question.
Thank you,
What
Paul.
that was the question?
The indictment on Trump.
Oh.
And what are your feelings about what's going to happen and what it's going to do for the country and what the results are going to probably be?
I think the exposure of all the corruption and all the lies, the truth has finally come out, plain and simple, plain as day. I think that we have to also realize, because I mean, maybe Lonnie, you could probably verify. Maybe you could verify this. I watched these legal shows too, and they were saying that there's a rumor it could be up to 34 charges, and they said if it was a simple hush money case or a simple fraud, like a little bit of fraud, maybe they would have got like 7 or 8 cases, maybe something else, maybe 10 or 12. But they said the fact that it could be 34 charges is significant.
And remember, Bragg didn't do it before. Remember, he walked away from this. Something changed. We were pissed at Bragg months ago when he said, there's nothing here. Something's there.
Yeah, Trump kept talking shit. That's what happened. If Trump would have shut his damn mouth, I mean, a 12-year-old could figure this out. You don't just keep instigating. You're going to be in front of this guy.
Yeah.
Why would you talk shit about him?
And he's still talking shit.
The worst strategy on planet Earth.
Right. Okay.
So that's my theory. I think, and I'm still waiting for heavy hitter Jack Smith, because those are federal charges. And I mean, even Mike Pence had to testify. So that case is no joke.
Right.
And Jack Smith is no joke. So
But remember something. Remember something. Yes, the Jack Smith case is going to be big. It's no joke. Yeah. It's federal. But remember, if Trump was to get back in office or another Republican, they can easily erase that federal case by Jack Smith because it's federal. They cannot do that with the Georgia case or the New York case.
Right.
That's
so
true.
I do understand that a lot of people are waiting to see what's going to happen with the Jack Smith. Me personally, I'm hoping that something happens between the Manhattan and the Georgia case, because at least there's no outward for him if he was to get into office.
Well, you know what they're doing.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
You know what they're doing in Georgia, though? They all have to work fast, because in Georgia, Kemp, get him and Abbott confused. Kemp just passed that law that they can oversee the prosecutors in Georgia. So he set up a panel where the panel is one person. If one person complains about a prosecutor, then the panel looks at them and then they can ask the prosecutor to step down. That's directed at Fannie, right? They're going to have, and these people who just miraculously come up and be like, I have a complaint, they're fueled by the Republicans of putting them there to do that and helping them. Just like these cases that are going to the Supreme Court, it's these Republicans have these PACs that they're using to file these complaints so that it goes to the Supreme Court, so that the Supreme Court gets it and like, oh, what a surprise. Like they hadn't gotten that phone call from these Republicans saying this is coming down the pike. Watch out for it. And we know, you know what to do. Like that's what's going on. So she has to work fast too. Jack Smith, Jack Smith is working really fast though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's not messing around, man.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
We got to remember where he's from. And he's from The Hague.
He's not showing any intimidation whatsoever.
None.
But
I respect him, man.
They ain't saying shit about him. They talk about that black man though, but you don't see Trump with Jack Smith like this with a bat at Jack
right. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's that inner racism in Trump, man.
And when Jack Smith is playing ball, Jack Smith doesn't lose. Yeah. But now, I'm going to give my
We're already
version.
over.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're already at an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right. Here's my version of this and all that. The indictment is a great thing because it's like everyone else has already said. There has to be accountability. Okay. Now, this indictment is going to glorify Trump in a lot of ways. He's the victim, as he always has been since he was fucking elected. He's the victim. Okay. So now, Republicans, here's where the biggest aspect of all of this comes into play. It's actually nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has to do with the Republican Party. They have to decide which side they're going to take.
Right.
Okay. And that creates division. And that's what we need is more division. Now, the good thing about this indictment is that it happened. It's an indictment of a former president. Something that no one had the balls to do until now. It's done. Now that it has been done, it's not going to slow Georgia down because they're not the first.
Right.
No problem in being the second one. We didn't do it first. We did it second. Jack Smith, I didn't do it first. I did it third or fourth or fifth or wherever he falls in line. All these people now, all these states will now be able to indict. And this is setting a precedence. So everywhere that he's violated the law, committed crimes, and done these things as president, they can now prosecute. They can file criminal cases. They can file civil cases. So that's the product number one of this. Him getting convicted doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter. The fact that this is happening. Now, along the way, we do need a conviction, at least one that says he was found guilty. Doesn't matter if he does time. I personally would prefer that he doesn't because, as I said earlier on in the show, Lana, before you showed up, is that if Trump gets convicted and is behind bars at the time of the 2024 election, the people might gather behind him and he could potentially be, because Trump has a lot of firsts. He's been the first president to be impeached twice. He's now the first president to be indicted. He could become the first president to be elected from inside the walls of a jail. So if he were to be found guilty, I encourage, especially on the federal level, because I think that's where he's going to get found. That's where I think he's going to be found guilty. He needs to be pardoned with, you can never run for office as part of the package. And now, if Biden gets blacklisted, that's okay, because Biden can just step down and let Kamala take over. So he can take his disgrace with him from the Democrats who pardoned Trump. Why would you do that? So that he doesn't get fucking elected. That's why we do that. Okay. And that's how I see it, because I saw it during the first one that he gained momentum like you wouldn't believe. The good thing is that historically, anyone that's led in the primaries at this point in time was not elected president. Just another historical fact, just so you know. So going into 2024, I don't believe Trump is going to get elected. I don't think he's going to win the primary. And this goes back to what Lana was saying. We want Trump to win the primary because he can't beat Biden or Kamala or anybody the Democrats have in. And then in relation to the Civil War, we're already in a cold Civil War, a Cold War, a cold Civil War. We're already in that.
It's like a social war.
Now we have to get to that point of healing the nation. And we got to start reaching across the aisle to those that denounce the racism and the bigotry and the hatred that the Trump party represents. And if there's people on the right that want to come out and be that person that stands up against it, hey, come on my show. Let's talk. I'll have you on here. Because we need to start reaching out to each other, and we need to start healing this nation before it gets any worse than it already is. Because if we were to actually go into a civil war, if we were to actually go into that kind of thing,
No.
martial law would be a very bad thing.
I just
And
want to ask you real quick, or when you're done.
what's that?
What? Oh no! So when you're done, I just wanted to add something real quick.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I think the one factor that I don't think anybody's taking into account is if he does go to jail, he won't be able to steer his narrative anymore himself. And I think there's going to be, I mean, I think he's going to have a nervous breakdown before he even gets to Jack Smith.
No, I totally
But-
side with Paul on this one. I do not think that he's going to go to jail. Even if convicted, I do not think that he would go to jail. I do believe for the good of the country, as I think Gerald Ford did with Nixon, that Biden or whoever in position will pardon him, but only if
Right.
he was to go away.
Right.
Go away.
Yeah.
And that pardon would be preventing him from going to jail, but not cleaning his not erasing his record. His record will forever be stained, but he will not spend one day in jail. That's what I think would happen.
Now, the only way he could go to jail and actually stay in jail is if enough people on the right actually came out and said, oh my God, we didn't know that he actually did this, this, and this. And they would have to completely denounce him and throw him under the bus and bring out all the extra evidence for more trials and stuff like that to be able to get the people behind convicting him and putting
That's
him
not happening.
Nah, because what? Because J6 stuff. They know about it. They took part. They need to be watching their backs because Jack Smith got their tickets too.
Yes. And then the other thing that I want to point out in relation to a civil war, I had a guy that came into a room. I did a Second Amendment room, and again, there's this assumption by the people on the right that people on the left don't have any guns.
Yeah,
right?
it's really.
And I just want to make them aware that
It's ridiculous.
yes,
Yeah.
the people on the right own more guns in volume than the people on the left. But the people on the left, there's more people on the left that own firearms than people on the right.
And that probably know how to use them, that aren't like people who are like Uvalde police who don't run into save children, or Missouri is allowing kids to carry guns, open carries, kids. They voted against a law banning children to carry firearms. They voted
That's
against it. And so a toddler can just have a gun. And we know what happens when a toddler has a gun.
Yeah, then one reason.
One just kid killed his sibling.
Yeah, that's right.
I know.
It's
We got a lot of work to do. How about that? We got a lot of work to do.
Common sense is going out the window.
No, and then because Republicans aren't working in a vacuum. It's like everything that they're doing, it seems like they're just throwing shit at the wall, but like they're doing
I'm hoping it sticks.
right, but they're not. They're really calculated about this because there is a reason why they want children to be able to carry guns. There's a reason why they want children to have babies, 10-year-olds to go on and have the baby from somebody who raped them, because now they want children to work. So they want to cut Social Security on one end, but then they want children to come into the workforce.
Yes.
Like they're literally making it easier for kids to work longer hours now. Like there are no rules anymore. You can be like 15 and working like overnight shifts. Then ain't going to school.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
But again, going back to what Esteban said, the blame is on the people, man. The people put the wrong people in place for selfish reasons, period.
Right. Okay, because
Well,
You know what I
they
mean?
just don't understand. Like, they don't really understand what the fuck is happening. It's just
Yeah.
like the
See-
train derails, and they're just like,
Here-
the minute Soros did it. Okay, cool. It's Soros. It's his fault.
here's my pushback on Jeremy on this, though. Okay, the media propagates this shit, and they're allowed to do so. Okay, so whatever you're watching, where you're getting your propagation, okay, propaganda, that's what you're believing. Because here's the thing. Like Lana just said, they want kids to work. Well, if kids are going to work, guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to drop out of school. If they're going to drop out of school, they're not going to get an education. And that means they're now going to have to work 2 jobs, because now they're not getting paid a living wage to put food on the table. So when you take a look at all this, they want to keep us unhealthy, uneducated, and a slave to the corporate master. All right?
Right.
So let's
Nice.
And don't want you to unionize.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So let's truly break this down for what it is, okay? As long as they can keep us
Oh, keep it up.
able to get to the information and the truth and keep us occupied with all this other garbage, then that's what we're going to be voting on and fighting for. This politician represents me and what I'm doing, because they say that these people over here with this religion or this skin color or this country of origin is doing this and taking my job and doing that, and that's why I'm getting paid less when I should be getting paid more, and all this other garbage that goes out there. They keep all of this stuff going, and the people are falling for it. They're believing it, when all they have to do is do some research. Guess what? They're working 2 goddamn jobs. They're putting food on the table. They're trying to keep a roof over their head. They're trying to pay for a car, pay for insurance, and pay for all this stuff. They don't have the time to look it up. So they rely on the news. And what's the news do? Again, this vicious circle. They fucking lie. They propagate. They put out the bullshit. And as long as they keep doing that, the people are going to continue to believe what they're being told, because it's so much easier than doing the work themselves that they don't have time to do, because that would mean they would have to work a 3rd goddamn job or a 4th job just to do this. So now they can't take care of their kids. They can't put the food on the table. So people like myself are out there trying to give the truth. And I hope that if I can reach one person that can take that and say, hey, this guy says this, check this out. Hey, take a week and read this book, or blah, blah, blah. Maybe that can start something. Maybe we can start waking people up, because we need to get people in office that are putting the truth out there. And once they can do that and start getting back to the core values of what people really want, people want a roof over their head and food on their table, and they want to do better by their kids.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, this is Cuddles, by the way. This is her introduction to the world.
Go ahead. Sorry about that rant, but go ahead.
No. I don't think that a lot of them want the truth. I mean, I get the working the 2 jobs and it's hard, but that's kind of bullshit, because these people are constantly on social media. They're getting the news from Facebook. Like, they don't want the truth. And then when you tell them, because we've seen it on like
Yes.
Jon Stewart show or whatever, someone asking them a question about, do you think Donald Trump is the president? Yeah, he the president. Biden's the fake president, because the seal that he has is like, they just, and you can literally show them
Yes.
with facts, and they still say that's not true. And they never have facts. Republicans don't deal in facts. Republicans never, and I know we say the media lies. I don't know about lying. The only media that I know that actually lies is Fox News. We know that they actually lie, because we've seen the text messages and the email of them actually lying and saying that they hate him and how stupid he is, and that he lost that election, and then they turn around and did. So they just don't want to. I mean, at least anyone with any thinking, your local news, your fucking local news will tell you what the hell on a generic basis what's going on in the news.
If it's not owned by Sinclair, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. Like,
well, there's a lot of also, I mean, other than us, there's a lot of networks on like YouTube. Like I watched the Midas Touch Network. There's Fair and Balanced. There's damage report. There's a lot of independent company or places. I mean, not all of them, but I mean, there's some good ones out there that are dedicated to at least reporting facts. You know what I mean? And I think that's important now with all the lies that are coming out, that we at least have some people that are trying to report what's happening as it's happening, not trying to skew it one way or another, but just report what's going on.
And I wanted to throw in there the other channels besides Fox News, OAN and Newsmax as well.
Oh yeah.
That baseless lies that they're just spewing out there. And as sad as it is to say, isn't that exactly what is being experienced in many of these red states around the country? Exactly what Lana said, that they know the truth, or they choose not to know the truth. They just go by what they're being told by their leaders, and by what, you know, channels like Fox News says. Throw them their guns. They'll be happy as long as you keep throwing them their guns, and that's it. That's good enough for them. In the meantime, the educational aspect, the intelligence, stays at -0.
Right. Always red states, right? They're quick to say, and it's funny, and I had this thought today, and I would never tweet it because I would get blasted. But I'm thinking, like, tornadoes in Mississippi, poorest state. Tornadoes in Arkansas, poor state. And then I'm like, if that ever happened in New York, tornado, Baltimore, Massachusetts, Vermont, they would go, it's God's way of, you know, trying to cleanse the world of all the queers and the black. That's exactly what they would say. It's our punishment. What is this, their punishment for being fucking idiots and racist? Like, for real.
Hey,
seriously.
Say
Lana,
it.
You're right. I would never tweet that as well, but those have been my thoughts exactly. I do not wish these bad things on them, but every time they happen, I say to myself, is that in response to what they're dishing out? Or even forget about the hate that they spew. What about the climate change aspect of it? You refuse to admit that the climate is different, and so now it's hitting you.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't fucking care about these people. Mississippi, that county was the poorest county in Mississippi. I am from Alabama. Those people don't even have doggone indoor plumbing. How are you going to have these people living in trailers knowing that you get tornadoes? You know that was a category 5. You know that a strong wind blows the roof off of those mobile homes. You know that. And there was no shelter in place for these people. Why? Because they don't fucking care. And the poor people, they keep them uneducated. They make internet access hard for these people, so they don't understand government. And that's the problem. And that's why it's good that all of us have these podcasts, because we try to educate these people, because they don't know how politics work. They just go, well, the government don't care about me, so I'm just going to not have, you know, the plumbing. That's happening in Alabama, Lowndes County. The EPA, the black man, the newly appointed, had to go there because those people had sewage backing up into their sinks. And fucking Kay Ivy's running around here I prayed that road would be overturned. Meanwhile, your fucking people are getting like hookworms and all these diseases that never existed before because their fucking sewage is in their tubs and shit.
Right.
And the people are like, well, I went to the government and they told me just to use the bathroom outside. You got an outhouse, don't you? And they're just like, that's the government to them.
Right.
They don't see a separation. It's like Kay Ivey, the buck stops there. They don't understand, like, you can vote her out.
Right.
Yep.
Meanwhile, us blue states, they look at us like we are the devil, like we are the crazy persons. But every time we look at them, for example, with the example that you just said, where they're like, well, you can go outside and use the bathroom. We're standing around like, say what?
Excuse me?
No, bring your ass over here and fix my shit. We don't use bathrooms outside.
Yeah, right. And they just go,
Yeah.
well, okay, because the government said that it's supposed to be like that. That's just the way
Right.
it is here. Like,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
how it is.
Right.
I
And
live
those
there.
type of people will say,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And the blue side people will be
I'm
like,
no, fuck
fuck
that.
no.
Fuck that. I will shit
Yeah.
on your lawn. How about that?
Right.
I'll
Hey.
be an insurrectionist. I'll be
I gotta hop off, you guys. I hate to go, but I gotta get going. Okay.
Hold on a second. Hold on. We have Lizzie B. Love on Twitter, where how can we support the January 6th participants getting jail time and advocate for the pardon of the orchestrator, even if there are strings attached? It demonstrates that in some way, some are above the law and others are not. Jail time is fair compared to what the founders deem appropriate for sedition. And I agree. I agree with that. I
actually agree with that. Yeah.
And again, when I was making those statements, it wasn't what my belief system is. It's what I believe will probably happen based on the system that we have. And I agree. It's not a matter of red and blue. It's a matter of justice. Completely agree with you, Lizzie. It's just that, unfortunately, our system doesn't work in that aspect. So before we close it out, I want to let everyone know that I have reached out to Midas Touch. I brought up the Lana Quest show. I brought up Sarah Donahue with Mixed Messages. I brought up the Bank Sisters, Greg Oliar, and some other Boyce Littlefield with the Mindful Skeptics. These small-time podcasts that we have, okay, it's great for our small arena that we're working in and getting the message out there. It's great that we're doing this, and we need to keep doing this. And when I reached out to Midas Touch, I asked them if we could go on their shows, if they could go on our shows, because what we need to do, we need some of these bigger guys like the Midas Touch, like David Packman, like Jesse Dollamore. We need them.
Is Brian Taylor called?
Huh?
What was the other? There's another one that I follow that's really good. Hold on a second.
Well, we need these big ones to start bringing us on board so that we can become big, so that we can have the audience that's out there and attracting people, because these 3, 4, 5, 6 podcasts that are, blowing up big, that's drawing the attention of Candace Owens and these other right wingers that are putting out their political propaganda, Trump Jr. and all of that. And they're sitting there putting down these big people on social media. It's not enough. It's not enough. The reason why these right wingers are chomping at the bits to say something about these guys is because they're reaching people, but they can't do it alone. And I'm hoping that Ben, Jordan, one of you guys are watching this or will take the time to watch this and say, hey, Paul, that's a brilliant idea. If we start getting all these other little guys on and we start sharing them and they start getting more popular and more popular, and we start dominating YouTube and people are looking at us on our shows and listening to what we all have to say, more and more people will start jumping in on here and will be like, hey, there's a perspective I haven't heard. Hey, there's a perspective I haven't heard. Instead of getting 2 or 3 or 4, they can start getting dozens of perspectives that can help, see how people are actually doing things in this country. Esteban on his show brings normal people in off the street to see how the world is affecting them every day. How is the gas prices affecting you? How is the cost of eggs affecting you?
Yes.
This is what people need to fucking hear.
Yeah.
And yet these big guys won't even return my email. So, hey, if you're listening, big guys, start looking at us, because our little groups that we have of 100 or 200 or 300 followers, We already follow you guys. We already watch you guys. Okay. So if you could get people to start watching us, that would be a great help to the movement forward that we're all trying to fight for. We're all trying to fight for that equality. We're all trying to fight for that justice. We're all trying to fight for a good life. So please check us out.
Amen.
Closing words, anybody? Closing thoughts?
I'm good.
You said it well.
Yeah, well, I agree with everything you said. It's going to take a village, and I do believe that they need to reach back. That's how we help each other, and that's how democracy is saved. I mean, you know, I for instance, Lauren Hubbard had ran for Congress. I forgot what what his district was. Had him on the show, right? So when the guys, that was the thing, like when the politicians first start and they're young and they don't know anything, they'll get on. He's running for mayor now. I DM'd him. I ain't getting no, you know what I mean? Like nothing now, because now he's kind of into politics. People know him. So Lana who? Like staying on my podcast.
Yeah.
Right now.
Trust me. I know how that is, man. Yeah. I just started doing this. I'm in a city of 35,000 people, and nobody I know does this stuff around here. So it's just
a
like
struggle to get people to come on.
But it's cool. Like what gives me chills. I had chills on this episode because like all four of us are from all different parts of the country. We all met through cool, different little stories, but we all have views that are different, but the same at the same. You know what I mean? They're different, but we all are able to talk them out, and we're able to get different perspectives. And I think, like we always talk about, Esteban, is unless we talk about these different perspectives, nothing's going to heal. It's just going to be the same stuff over and over again. So
what makes us all unique is that even though we might come from the different angles on how we want things done, we all have the same end goal.
Yes.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. And remember, everyone, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.